we've got quite a few Cowboys rumors on tap. We'll dive into the first one there. Does the clapper actually cuss? You saw a very classic Jason Garrett press conference there, but this one's actually 4 stars. All or Nothing, the upcoming Amazon documentary for the Dallas Cowboys, is going to detail quite a little bit here for the Cowboys and Jason Garrett, and it's a very different Garrett than we've seen in press conferences and him clapping on the sideline. He drops multiple F-bombs towards Cowboys and Cowboys players, even called the team soft after the loss to the Denver Broncos. So stay tuned for that. I don't like the timing of this All or Nothing documentary because it's during the NFL draft. I'm not going to have time to watch, but I'll binge watch it on Sunday when I'm off work after the NFL draft, and we'll discuss it quite a bit on the Cowboys Report after we watch the whole thing, and all of you watch it as well. Let's keep it rolling now. Jason Witten, you heard from him earlier in the show. Is he going to play in 2018? Well, 4 stars on this one. I had a little bit of some concern around this one because there was a report that he auditioned for the ESPN broadcasting role, which was a new report, but he confirmed again earlier this week that he is going to play in 2018. He wants to play until he's 40. Now, I've seen quite a bit of backlash on Twitter and other about the future of Jason Witten, whether or not he should play until he's 40, so I want to know from you guys, how long should Jason Witten continue to play in the NFL? You know, I am of the mindset that although some want to cut Jason Witten, they don't have a better option right now. Now, I don't think Witten's going to play till he's 40. I don't want him to because, yes, he's still a good blocker, but he doesn't bring you much after the catch, and he can get open inside of 5 yards, but the upside is limited there. I give him another year or two. In the very near future, the Cowboys do need to find a young future tight end to replace Witten. Maybe it's Rico Gathers, maybe it's not. Either way, the Cowboys need somebody else behind Witten. Next up, are the Cowboys going to trade for Earl Thomas, the constant Cowboys rumor, which will not die until after he joins the Cowboys or signs a massive extension with the Seattle Seahawks? 2 stars on this one. There is some reason to think why the discussions between the Cowboys and Seahawks could reemerge here. Thomas did not report to the Seahawks offseason workouts, which isn't a huge surprise. He's made it very clear he wants to get a new contract from Seattle or from somebody else if that's what it comes to. And he hasn't reported in the past, but it's different now because of the threat of a potential holdout. And also pointed out, as I have on Twitter as well, the release of Dez Bryant does help free up cap space. If the Cowboys can make a deal for Earl Thomas, they now have the money to afford him a long-term contract and in the immediate time for this coming season. So I want to know from you guys, what would you trade for Earl Thomas? The report is Seattle wants at least a first-round pick. I'm not giving that up. I will offer the Seahawks my second-round pick, but nothing more than that. Do not give up your first-round pick if you're the Cowboys. It's too valuable for a guy you have to pay and is likely going to be on his last major contract. Keep it rolling now with some more rumors. Could the Cowboys draft multiple wide receivers this year? I'll give this one 2 stars as well here. This comes from Stephen Jones, who said the Cowboys could take a few receivers, and it makes some sense. Receiver is a pretty notable need for the Dallas Cowboys, and they will draft at least one, most likely in round 1 or round 2. But if you're going to take a late-round wide receiver, my mindset is why? They in reality already have 6 roster-quality wide receivers in Allen Hurns, Terrence Williams, Cole Beasley, Ryan Switzer, Noah Brown, and Deontay Thompson. If you draft somebody and don't, say, trade a Cole Beasley or Terrence Williams, then you've already got 7 guys. You're not going to carry 8. I'm all for more competition, but you have enough depth at wide receiver. I wouldn't mind spending a different pick in terms of late rounds as opposed to taking 2 wide receivers. But if the value's there, maybe a guy like Allen Lazard falls to you round 5 even, then maybe it makes some more sense. We'll get to some more rumors here around the Cowboys, but first, it was from our sponsor, The Guild. I know a lot of you guys don't like Jason Garrett, so maybe you'll like this rumor. What about Lincoln Riley? Large game Lincoln to replace Jason Garrett as head coach. Just the 1 star on this one. It comes from Kirk Herbstreit, who said he wouldn't be surprised if the Joneses pursued Riley if and when Garrett is fired, i.e. if and when Garrett misses the playoffs this year for the Cowboys. I don't really quite buy into this one. I think this is just a classic example of the Oklahoma head coach being the next Cowboys coach. We saw it all the time with Bob Stoops. Every time the Cowboys job came open, Stoops was mentioned as a possible replacement. But I will mention this for Riley. He says he spoke with 28 or more NFL teams about his offense. That's a very impressive number there. NFL teams like what he did last year, and I think it helps that everyone was talking to Riley about Baker Mayfield and how he fits the NFL. But that is worth mentioning. I don't think it's all that likely, but I'm not going to rule it out quite yet. And of course, for everyone out there who doesn't like the clapper, aka Jason Garrett, I want to know from you. Do you want Garrett fired? I wouldn't have minded firing him after this season, and we've mentioned this many a time on the Cowboys Report. If Jason Garrett does not make the playoffs in 2018, I don't see him back as the Cowboys head coach. He is very much on the hot seat entering this season. All right, some more draft and draft prospect notes here. What about Ronald Jones in the Cowboys? Well, just the one star on this one. A very dynamic and quick halfback, a little undersized though, but he did meet with the Cowboys. That coming from Bleacher Report, so there is some truth to it, but I don't see the Cowboys spending that second-round pick or third-round pick in the best-case scenario that it would require them to get Ronald Jones. I think this is more of the due diligence, chatting with him, seeing, hey, if he slides for some unknown reason, maybe it makes some sense, but I would not expect to see Jones on the Cowboys. He's just going to go too early. We'll stick in the backfield now and move to the quarterback position. How about the Cowboys and Kyle Lauletta? Again, just the one star on this one. Some truth, but, don't bank on this one going down. The Cowboys had a workout with Lauletta. The Richmond quarterback is a likely mid-round draft pick. I don't foresee the Cowboys spending anything before a 6th or 7th round pick on a quarterback. Plus, I think Lauletta goes in maybe that round 4, maybe the round 3 range. That's too early for the Cowboys to spend a draft pick on a backup quarterback to compete with Cooper Rush for that backup role. But the Cowboys will add at least one as an undrafted free agent because they need more camp arms. Rush and Prescott are not enough to fill all the reps the Cowboys will have. All right, number 8 then. How about the Cowboys and Courtland Sutton? Well, 2 stars on this one. Sutton was a last-second pre-draft visit for the Cowboys. Jason Garrett met with Sutton at the SMU Pro Day, but they did bring him in for a full-on 30 official visit, which we'll detail all of those here in just a second. But the SMU wide receiver is a legitimate first-round option for the Cowboys. And speaking of those first-round options, here are the 3 most likely, and I want to know from you which receiver you would prefer to draft. Is it Calvin Ridley, Sutton, or DJ Moore? If it's somebody else, another, be it a Christian Kirk or James Washington, whomever, let me know in the comments section. All right, one final rumor for you guys today. It also involves a wide receiver, Marcell Ateman, the Oklahoma State big-bodied wide receiver. 2 stars on this one. The Cowboys hosted him on Wednesday, the last day for pre-draft visits for NBC. The Oklahoma State receiver is a likely mid-round pick. He's got great size, but he's not a very good athlete. I'm not a huge fan of Ateman, but if you want to spend a 4th or 5th round pick on him, I think the size makes it worthwhile.